Tonight, on the season 2 finale of Debate Amongst Friends, NBA Finals review as brooms have been marked down in Oakland. Reports emerge as the decision part 3 is upon us for LeBron James, and NFL news, including multiple holdouts and more, starting now.
Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, welcome to Debate Amongst Friends live on YouTube. This is June 13th, 2018, and we are at the end of season 2, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a long ride. The hype's been, the salt has been salty and sweet as can be. I am your mediator, the Professor John Gotti. And always by my side, don't tell him to give him a styles clash because he's too sweet. It's Doc Ocean. How you doing tonight, sir?
Season 2 finale. Yes, the salt has been real, but who are we to withhold the tears of all the LeBron maniacs that's going to be coming and flowing from Cleveland? Who are we, sir? Who are we to hold
I'm
those
not gonna
tears
lie.
back?
I woke up this morning, I started working, and I felt sad. I'm sad tonight, sir.
Why are
I,
you
I'm
sad, sir?
and I'm sad because I had to mourn the loss of someone,
Uh-oh.
and the person I had to mourn for was a king
Not a
because
king.
the king is dead.
Oh, my goodness. The king is dead.
And if you don't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is Debate Amongst Friends, also known as Welcome to the Bye-Bye Penitentiary.
Penitentiary. And that's on some day one-ish.
And that is on some day one-ish. I'm ready to get started. I'm hyped. I know you're hyped. The people are hyped. Chris is hyped. Duke and Duchess out here in the studio as well, listening to us as well too. They're also hyped. Let's get into this. The NBA Finals was intriguing. There was drama. There was a little bit of showboating. A hand became the biggest news coming out the Game 4. And people decided to grab their brooms, brought it down to the Quicken Loans Arena out there in Cleveland, Ohio, and they swept the Cavaliers off the floor.
How ridiculous was those games? And I mean, when you look back at it, I mean, people are probably still blaming this all on J.R. Smith.
Which is hilarious because it's not even his fault. Like,
It's not.
if you
It's
look
not.
at it, it wasn't just his boneheaded play or, genius play if you're a Warriors fan. Like, there's other factors to consider as well, too. The entire team sucked, other
This
than
is
LeBron
true.
James.
This is true. Of course, we're going to talk about the future state, of course, of the Cavaliers without LeBron, which we've already shared on our Facebook. If you are a fan or if you like our page, we did share that Dan Gilbert feels as though they can build a championship team without LeBron.
Right.
Exactly. But we'll definitely get to that, though. But the games,
Games.
they were landslides. Like, sure, they look close, but and this is a pat on the back to the Rockets, of course. Are the Rockets the only team, you're telling me, that even had the potential to beat the Warriors this year?
Yes.
That's ridiculous because of course, I feel like I do still like we beat them. I really still believe that we had that game won, but people felt that the King could get it done, and he just did not. It was no such thing as even being remotely close to getting it done.
You want me to tell you the kind of people who thought the king could get it done? Is people like Shannon Sharp, Nick Wright, all of them just sitting there on their knees, you know, showing their appreciation to the king on his scepter,
Oh my goodness.
sitting there gassing him up, and it was the same story like last year, minus one other component.
Oh yeah.
It's the
Which seems
same story.
which now seems to be a big component. Now it's like, you know, now LeBron not only can he can't win without, D Wade and Chris Bosh, but now he can't win without Kyrie.
I'm just trying to figure out, like, when are we going to finally, you know, say that he's not in the conversation for greatest of all time? And you mentioned it, I've mentioned it, Q-Mart mentioned it. I mean, the three of us mentioned it, that he's not the greatest of all time. He's the greatest of this current generation. We will not deny that claim whatsoever.
Sure.
But as
But
soon
this
as you start
generation,
putting that G to the O to the A to the T, and it doesn't stand for going to another team, then that's where we have issues.
just the fact that that came up is kind of ridiculous. Like that acronym stands for something that's not good.
I
Like
mean,
that's not good.
to be honest, and to be controversial for a second, the acronym for the guy from Akron, Ohio, to
Uh-oh.
describe him as
Oh,
is SAWFT,
soft.
because
I'm
that's what his teams are. And it's nothing against, and people are going to get upset, but this is the season finale, and we have to get this all out there.
We really do. We do. It's true. We really do. There's no question about it. We do have to tell people the truth, and in this particular situation,
Even if the truth hurts.
oh, it's definitely gonna hurt. I mean, the salt always stings a little bit. But when you think about it, it's one of those situations where there are no real Cavalier fans. So it's like when you see people cheering for the Cavs, it gets kind of sickening actually, just to hear people say, "Oh yeah, go Cavs," and it's like you're not a Cavs fan, you're a LeBron fan. And please, there is a major difference
A
between being a
huge
Cavs fan.
difference.
You know what I mean? Like if somebody was to come up to me and say, "Hey, I'm a big James Harden fan," I would be like, "Oh, oh, you're one of those." You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the way I would look at it, because it's like you weren't rotting with the Rockets when they were struggling. As the old Rick Ross saying goes, "You weren't with me shooting in the gym."
Yep.
um, but I think ultimately, I do not give any fault to LeBron James when it comes to building a team. Um, I think he's tried his best to get people to come to Cleveland, um, but it's clear that not even his greatness can get people to come to Cleveland, and that speaks volumes.
I'm actually going to disagree with you.
You think people will come to Cleveland?
I believe that he has controlled the narrative so much that, and it's kind of like the same analogy that we've used in football, if you think
Mm-hmm.
about it.
Sure.
When the team does well, he gets all the praise.
Oh,
But
you.
when he does, when the team does terribly, now it's everyone else. Like, he's controlled the narrative. The people that he has on the team is people that he wants.
So you're gonna go J.R. Smith theory on us?
No, because this is something that both of us spoke about.
I mean, I'll give J.R. credit. I
We've
mean, we did. I mean, we recently posted that. I mean, J.R.
No, no,
Smith
no,
did
no.
say
I'll even
it.
go further back than that. The
Okay.
last season he was in Cleveland before he took his talents to South Beach,
Mm-hmm.
you and I both talked about how it seems so weird that, he continually get all these players all the time, and it just so happened they either A, got dropped from their team, so they got picked up through waivers, or B, basically try to turn it into a Popovich system and, take as little money as possible. Like, he's been the catalyst for that for such a long time. And I think it's about time that we finally, call the goose the goose.
I can agree with that. Now I see what you're talking about, what you're referring to, and I do remember those conversations that we did used to have about that type of setup. And we're talking about like the Darren Williams is those kind of guys. I mean, they had to me. I thought this team was set up beautifully. I mean, I don't know why they traded Jamison Crowder. I probably wouldn't have traded Jamison Crowder. I probably would have traded one of those other guys that they weren't going to use anyway. But it's crazy to me that people would say, and it bothered me so much that this team wasn't good. Like that bothered me so much because I mean, Jordan Clarkson was averaging 15 points a game prior to joining this team.
Roddy Hood was averaging 17 points a game.
17 points a game before they joined this team. Kevin Love, we always talk about it, 20 and 20. I mean, Kyle Korver was shooting at a very high level.
Kyle Korver was shooting at a historic 3-point percentage.
But once they joined this team, it's like they went downhill. It's the most ridiculous thing.
It's like once they join the team, it's like, oh, yeah, remember those shots you got? No, those are LeBron shots. Oh, remember those touches you got? Yeah, those are LeBron touches now. What am I supposed to do then? Just stand there.
I think somebody mentioned earlier today or yesterday that J.R. Smith was a beast before he started playing with LeBron.
He played on my Knickerbockers before he went to the Cavaliers, and he only had really one good season with the Knicks, and that was the year that he won Sixth Man of the Year. And after that year, and you heard me say it after that year, I think they should get rid of him because he lived up to his purpose, but that's about it. He's going to become too comfortable and start being a distraction to the team.
Well, I think they were. I think they were. I think somebody posted his actual memories from Denver. I think that's what they were looking at, his Denver time.
That's a lot longer back than...
It is.
Okay. Like...
Yeah, it is. It's a really far time. So it wasn't even accurate. It was just as accurate as the Rockets who played on the Hornets post that I put up. But I don't know what the Cavs do from here. I mean, Tristan Thompson's the highest paid player, basically, without.
Yeah, but that's on LeBron's doing now.
I mean, what are they going to do? They don't have any money.
Same thing with Kyle Korver. Same thing with J.R. Smith. Like, those are all signings because of LeBron.
I'm trying to figure out what to do because they don't have any money. I mean, I think George Hill makes a lot of money. A lot of money.
I know.
So if they can't bring back LeBron, even though LeBron probably, I mean, how could he even consciously go through another season with this team that's supposedly so terrible?
Which is hilarious. Like, at that point, and I forgot who, I think it was actually the blasphemous one, Stephen A. Smith. He said they should have just took the dive with Game 7 against Boston because we would have had a much better series for the finals. And I completely agree with him.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Or, I mean, of course, I'm going to go on the opposite side. If the NBA officiating would have, not robbed my Houston Rockets and put the Rockets in the finals like they were supposed to be.
It would have been 5-6.
It would have been 5-6 games, but I mean, ultimately, it is what it is. I mean, now we have to, focus on this dynasty, on the other side. But
I mean, Steph has the same amount as LeBron. Clay has the same amount as LeBron. And KD
will probably pass him at this rate.
If they keep the core that they have right now, absolutely, they're they're probably going to match up to Tim Duncan.
And did you saw the post that we shared today with, I mean, of course it's all clickbait, I'm sure, but
Absolutely.
the idea that they would even consider trading for Anthony Davis, um, is ridiculous.
The unmitigated
Like,
goal.
think about it. KD and AD with F, and if they're able to keep one of those other guys, that
The
would be
unmitigated goal.
yeah, that would be ridiculous. I would look for David Stern somewhere to come and veto that trade.
Wait, who?
David Stern, you heard it correctly. David Stern would come and veto the trade.
I think Adam Silver would act to that trade.
I don't think he will.
Wait, are you saying that he's soft?
He is. Oh my God, he loves this dynasty. He loves it. Oh my God, you could see it in his face when he was handing them the trophy. He loved every minute of this. That's why the refs robbed us. He
Wait,
loves this.
you know what? I mean, I thought that he was just like, the two of us when we saw, LeBron James check out and,
No,
knowing that he's not
not
going to win another championship for a while.
no. He was a pig in mud handing that trophy over to the Warriors.
Well, you know what? It would make sense, though, now that you say that. It
He
would
was
make
so
sense
happy.
because, David Stern had a few dynasties on his hand underneath his belt, and Adam Silver needs to make a mark. He needs a dynasty.
This is true. He did. I mean, but David Stern also took that and blocked a potential dynasty also.
Yet we really can't say it
We
was going to be
can't
a
say
dynasty,
that.
though.
This is
No, we
true. We
can't say that.
can't.
Like, there's a few
All right.
things we can guarantee. We could guarantee that the Cavs would have got swept, and they did.
Right. Well, I didn't guarantee that. I actually thought and believed that it was going to go five, which if JR or anybody else on the Cavs roster calls a timeout, maybe they can try to draw up a play and LeBron can do one of those left-handed runners.
Nope. Nope.
But it didn't happen. Yeah, it
It
didn't
didn't
happen.
happen.
Yeah.
It didn't happen. But, you know, had Kyrie Irving played with the Boston Celtics, they would have been in the finals. These are all
This
things
is
that we're saying is for certain.
Of course, and a lot of people have said to me that if Chris Paul doesn't get hurt, we're in the finals.
Oh, apps! I completely agree with that.
So I mean, I can rest easy and rest assured knowing that if ifs were a fifth, that we would all be drunk, of course.
hmm I mean, and
But
and I've even said it on record. Like as soon as they said that Chris Paul might miss the rest of the series, I had to change my choice to Golden State. I felt like
and
they couldn't do it without him.
and I believed that the momentum was on our side, but clearly I was blinded by my own fandom.
And sometimes that's okay. It happens in sports.
Yeah, I was riding high on what we had because we had come so far. But you wouldn't expect for Trevor Ariza to go 0 for 9 and they're not calling foul calls, so on and so forth. But
It was a
we're
very dirty series.
yeah, it was. But we're not here to talk about that right now. We have to discuss where LeBron might go next.
Yes, there's a bunch of potential teams based off of Vegas odds or
True.
sports lines for
Or
potential, where he can actually go, or as we call it, the decision part three, or the decision part trust.
or even dreams. I mean, what some people dream might happen. I mean, some people might just say, "Hey, this is what I want to happen." And I mean, a lot of these teams don't have any money. The teams that we're going to go over here. This is from
hmm
USA Today, and we'll run through it really quickly here. But I mean, I know a lot of people have put LeBron and saying, "Hey, this kid's the future, so that's a kid I might want to play with in the future." Let's start with the Los Angeles Lakers and Lonzo Ball.
Which is hilarious because his father, LeVar, was just on Undisputed yesterday. Did you get a chance to watch that?
I did not.
He basically said, I've been calling this for a while, that you're going to start calling him LA Braun.
Wow.
And
Wow.
he might actually be right.
I mean, it's possible, but would LeBron go west knowing that he would have to play against the Warriors eventually in the Western Conference Finals or the Rockets, depending on how that turns out?
He's gonna
Um,
go west to still be the best player ever, but he's going to take a back seat, so to speak, when it comes to being the guy pounding the rock the most. Like
so he's gonna get some help.
at this point in his career, he wants someone to be a ball dominant point guard. He doesn't want
So
to control the ball or the pace. He wants to be able to play off the ball. And the Lakers and the number two on this list, provide the best opportunity for him to do so.
okay, I can understand that. So you mentioned number two, the 76ers, the Philadelphia 76ers.
The process, the plays that Stephen A. Smith
Now,
almost
I'll say this.
abandoned as a home team.
Wow,
This is the team that I feel like has the best shot to get
I
LeBron James
do.
because they have the
I
cap
agree
to
with
grab
that.
him with a
Hmm.
really good deal
Without gutting the team. Literally, they
without
have
gutting the
the
team.
money.
Hmm.
They have the money if
They
they
had
want to.
technology.
They have everything. They have everything working in their favor to not only sign LeBron, but if they let go of JJ Redick, they can go out and potentially get
Paul George.
Paul George. I mean, and you know that would be kind of ridiculous. I'm not gonna lie. That would be ridiculous. I won't even lie to you. I wouldn't even know what to do. That's the process. If LeBron did want to stay on the East Coast and not be too far from Ohio, he can always drive home, or fly home cheap, cheap flight home. Um, it's tough though. That's tough. I won't lie. That's pretty tough. But again, like you said, another ball dominant Ben Simmons, another guy that he's been talking about. When he came out, they do have Markel Fultz also.
Hmm.
But this is a team that's not going to be shooting threes. They're more of a half court team. They're going to run some plays because their team's going to switch because they're not going to have JJ Redick. So the dynamic is going to switch, but they're going to overpower teams
Yes.
with three, basically 3, 6, 8, maybe 4, 6, 8 and up players, and they're just gonna pound and become the Monstars basically.
Oh gosh, actually, that would be ironic because of the movie.
It would be perfect actually because he literally would be on the Monstars
He's like, "But I'm a hero." No, no. Now you're the Monstars. You're now the villain again. Congratulations,
again.
Mr. James.
But I mean,
And you will never, ever become the face again.
so the one thing I will say is the next team, the Houston Rockets, my Houston Rockets,
This
right?
is one of the least. I feel like your
Yes.
team should not go after him. I feel
Do
like
you
it'll.
know?
I feel like it'll be a funeral. And I'm telling you this because you're my brother, and I'm never gonna tell you a lie.
I
If he
understand.
decides to go to the Rockets, it's gonna be a dose of venom. He's gonna inject
Let
some poison into that locker room.
Let me tell you this. I've said it on my Facebook. I personally, let's just take it to 2K because that's where I usually
Take it to
go with
2K.
it. If I'm going to 2K, I don't go for LeBron either. I call the Cavs and say, let's make a deal for Kevin Love. And the only reason I do that is because Kevin Love is the player that we wanted Ryan Anderson to be.
Yes.
Ryan Anderson, 20 flipping $1 million going down the drain. But the only reason I'm saying this is if we
The
can
the
trade,
the Jerome James of this modern NBA.
oh my God, if we can trade, if we can trade Ryan Anderson, I don't know what Trevor Reese is going to do. I don't know what a lot of these 1 year veteran minimum guys are going to do. I know Joe Johnson said he wants to come back, and I like Joe Johnson
Hmm.
as a vet coming off the bench. But if we get rid of Ryan Anderson, which I spoke to my brother last week as well. He said I could see a foolish team like the Knicks taking him. And my brother's a Knicks fan. He's a Knicks fan, and he mentioned it. He said it wasn't me. I didn't even bring it up. He said I could see the Knicks doing something crazy and taking him
And
for
he's not incorrect. That's what I'm saying.
yeah. And basically, if we can trade either for Kevin Love or we sign Paul George before before free agency starts,
Mm-hmm.
we'll be in great position to re-sign Clint Capella and re-sign Chris Paul. Honestly, I think Chris Paul is going to put us in the hole. I think Chris Paul might really put us in the hole, honestly. If
I
I'm,
can
I'm being
understand
honest.
that, but I feel like having him there would be more beneficial than Clint Capella.
Only because we have, and I can agree with that. And I think because we have Zhao Qi also, and I'm pretty high on Zhao Qi. I don't think they give Zhao Qi enough credit. I don't think he's got a chance to really play.
Not yet.
But Clint,
Nope.
but Clint Capella, depending on how much money he wants, and how much I'm sure a team's gonna throw a lot of money at him. I'm pretty sure. Um,
Yeah, but he doesn't want to turn into the Brooke Lopez of his story and
go
go to a
to
really bad team and just waste away your years for money.
True. And hopefully, he gives us the hometown discount. And that's what I'm saying. If they were to hold off, like all we need Chris Paul and Clint Capella to do is hold off. Let us play around a little bit with some money. Maybe Ryan Anderson takes either a ginormous pay cut or we amnesty him and
Which I
his
said, yeah, I should have done last year
we
before
should
this
have.
season.
Um, if we're able to trade for either Kevin Love, which I would be happy with, or go out and get a Paul George, I will be good with that. I don't want to pay LeBron James $50 million. I already know he wants something ridiculous. I'm pretty sure. And I
Of
know people out
course.
there are probably like, how could you not want the best player in the world and all this other crap that go sell that dream somewhere else? Because I'm not buying that right now.
Oh, breaking news, breaking news. LeBron James is not the best player in the world.
Hey, you heard it here first. I mean, that's it. I mean, you heard it here first.
The best
But
player in the world is Draymond Green. I'm joking.
wow. Wow.
Clay. No, it's actually Kevin Durant.
He is a beast, and I said that he's gained a. You saw that post that we were discussing,
Hmm.
and Qmar said that it was hard for him to be aggressive with Russell Westbrook,
Yep.
but I felt like he was clapping for the ball. He was screaming for the ball, and it was like such a Kobe-esque dominated series.
Which is funny because even Kobe highlighted how he could take his game to the next level on his show Detail. Which, if you haven't watched it yet, ladies and gentlemen, just watch it. Like, for those who are students of the game, watch it. You will learn. From someone who has been a video rat, you think that he's just someone who just always takes shots. No, he understands and, adapt to what the defense is giving you. Like, check it out on ESPN. Seriously. But
I agree.
but the thing that he was talking about is when Kevin Durant goes into those high post, low post actions with the ball, like if he can pass out of it when the defense is collapsing on him, that's gonna
Mm-hmm.
add so much more dimension to his game. It's
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous. And as he is highlighting everything, as it was going along, like it dawned on me like, holy crap, like that's dangerous.
Yeah.
That's absolutely ridiculous. We're talking about a potential triple double for the season on a team that has three players that can score 20 a night.
And I mean, and I think that's where it gets kind of interesting because if they were to trade, let's say they did make a trade, and let's just say the Pelicans were like, all right, we'll take number one. I would take Sean Livingston before I took anybody else first. Sean Livingston would come to my team because I know that he's going to be able to give me that mid-range dead-eye badge
Yep.
that I know that's what he gives, and I'm okay
The
with that.
lost art of the mid range jump shot.
And it's always contested too.
Yep.
You can't beat that contested mid-range ace. Then secondly, you have I know they mentioned Andre Iguodala in the deal.
Which I think at that point, I think they'll be okay letting him go.
Right.
It'll hurt a lot, but they have some people developing.
And I mean, ultimately, it would really be between Draymond and Clay. Now we had a debate earlier. I saw some people say Clay. You know,
Clay.
but I think ultimately I probably would choose Clay also because he's inconsistent and I I don't know. I mean, would you want to pay Clay a max contract as well?
I'm gonna
It's
be
tough.
I'm gonna be the opposite. I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I'm gonna
Sure.
say Draymond,
Mr. Triple Double.
and here's why.
Mm-hmm. That jump shot?
Draymond Green is a better version of Lance Stevenson.
Mm. Lance is kind of stinky.
And if you think about it, you'll agree with me right away when I said it.
I mean, I definitely understand what you're saying. I think Lance Stevenson had so much potential. I think had he stayed in Indiana the first go round, I think he would have been really, really good. But because he left and came back, it was just kind of weird. Like you
Yes,
could see, like once he came back to Indiana, it was just like he was right back to being really, really good.
exactly. And
And it was
that's
so
Draymond
weird.
Green, ladies and gentlemen. And
But
I can't knock the guy because he's a heck of a player. Michigan State, go Spartans. Seriously,
sure,
Tom
absolutely.
Izzo, like seriously, I like Draymond Green when he played in college. But if you had to choose between the two, I would choose Klay Thompson
To keep.
to keep.
I mean, I can agree with that because you're gonna
And
get
it's not
AD.
even
So
just the scoring part, like him being an on-ball defender. And yes, Draymond Green was Defensive Player of the Year, but Clay doesn't present more of a risk of getting so many technicals during the season. Like
that's true.
he doesn't lose his cool so much.
That's true. I can't argue with that. That's factual. I definitely can't argue with that. Um,
And in the long run, if they're trying to win, not four, not five, not six, to parody a certain king who's fallen,
hmm,
like he's one of the final bosses for Dark Souls. Oh, I went there,
Le-
ladies and gentlemen.
LeBron is down. I repeat, LeBron is down.
Like this is not gonna be the faint of heart. So if you are a LeBron maniac and you don't like this, make sure you comment on to this video about why you disagree with us. But the facts remain is the guy is now 3-6 in the finals. Yes, he had a spectacular playoff run, but I don't judge people based off the playoffs because anyone can have a great playoff series. And
True.
those very same people who have great playoff series turn into Jerome freaking James.
Hilarious.
So for me, playoffs means a little bit more than a regular season, but getting to the finals and winning said finals and not getting swept in also said finals is very big.
I agree. I
But
agree.
back to the Draymond situation though.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's the better value and here's why. He goes to another team and yeah, he'll have one good solid season with that team, but then just stinks it up after that.
Unless he develops his game. I mean, he would have to develop his jump shot. I mean, he would have to. Like there's just no way for him to continue to play on another team unless he develops that jump shot.
Here's a great question, Doc. Because I thought about this when you were saying that about him developing a jump shot. How many times have you seen Draymond Green take a 15-foot jump shot?
Never.
Okay. How many times have
Like
you seen Klay Thompson take a 15-foot jump shot?
I would say he probably takes about anywhere between maybe 5 to 7 potentially.
Okay.
Maybe 5 to 7. I give him 5 to 7 at most.
And that's why they're going to keep Clay.
I can understand that.
Like, while Draymond is more valuable on a defensive end, Clay, if they get rid of Draymond, can step up his game. Like, they can step up their games to work with the absence of a former defensive player of the year.
But they're all. But I mean, but then again, we don't have to worry about the defense because they're also acquiring Anthony Davis, who's no slouch either.
I don't know. I mean, he's no scrub, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
You know,
So
now you have another Twin Tower situation.
right, and then if they bring in, Kevin Looney or even JaVale McGee if he stays, I mean, you're talking about three almost 7 footers on the team
Mm-hmm.
on the floor at the same time.
So now you're talking about you got rid of your defensive player of the year, and now you have a lanky JaVale McGee, a guy who seriously had a really good finals, and people really don't give Kevin Looney enough credit. Like, he had a
True,
really good finals.
he did.
Defending LeBron James. I mean, he's the best player in the world, right?
Yeah,
But Kevin Looney
I,
was able to lock him up for a bit. He
I
didn't lock
agree.
him up completely, but he did his role.
I agree. I can definitely agree with that. And I think you also have to look at the bench. The overall bench was just it's just a good team.
It
And
is.
if they're to pick up a player, and I know I hated it on Facebook and I saw it on Bleacher Report, but if they were to pick up a guy like Trevor Ariza, I would just be so upset. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Which
I would be
that
pretty upset.
is possible. If they get a 3 and D player like a Trevor Ariza, like that will bring him over the edge. Trevor Ariza, who also won a championship before,
Right,
is gonna bring that locker room presence with him and potentially David West still staying there. Like, you're
right.
talking about a great bench coming off right there.
Yeah, I would
Not to
hate it.
mention, maybe Swaggy P.
Nah, I don't know about that. I don't think they would keep him if he. I mean, I don't know. They might not touch the team. I mean, this is all speculation, ladies and
Of
gentlemen.
course. But like
We're
I'm
really
trying to look at it as a, proper GM instead of, oh, well, we need to just take this piece and bring it over here. I'm trying to see how things can gel, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what the doc is doing as well. We're trying to make sure that whatever transactions that people are rumoring about, we want to make sure that the decisions work out in the long run
this
and
is
not
true.
just look great on paper.
This is true. But let
Otherwise,
us.
you'll have the situation like the Philadelphia Eagles had when they got Nami Osawa
This is true.
and their potential super team.
This is true. But let us not fall too far off the wagon. I mean, we are talking about LeBron and his destinations. Um, let's look at number 4 here, which I don't think this is. I don't think this is going to be even a possibility. The Spurs.
Um,
I don't like it. I mean, I could
here's the
see
thing.
it.
I can see it happening, but there's
Uh,
one major factor that will hinder this decision, and that's Pop.
Right.
We don't know how long he's gonna want to keep on coaching.
And so,
There's
and
already
I,
been stories out talking about how he might be done after 2020. And you know what?
right.
I can't blame him. He's done a lot for
He
this
has.
organization.
He
He's
has.
produced a plethora, a cornucopia of great head coaches that we have out there today.
Yeah.
And if he wants to, hang him up, by all means. Like, he's a heck of a coach. You know, if myself, you, or Q-Mart was still playing basketball to this day and we had a chance to pick any coach, we'll pick Greg Popovich because he gets the most out of what you can bring to the table. And that's something that not a lot of head coaches are great doing, like a Ty Lue. Oh, I'm
Right.
going there.
You should go there.
But
You should go there.
Pop has the ability to utilize his resources to its maximum effort. And yes, the Spurs are dull and they're kind of boring because they're not sexy, or they don't bring as much nasty as people want to see, but they get the job done. They're consistent and they're the model organization each and every time.
I just don't see them being a team that's bound to make a championship run with their current roster. Even if you add LeBron, I just think
If they
of
add LeBron, they could potentially make it. They can maybe make it to the conference finals. But I feel like if they get another good young player,
Right.
then that can definitely get them. And of course, this is if Kawhi decides to stay and they get him the supermax. But
Right.
like getting a good young player to create that core with Kawhi and LaMarcus Aldridge,
Hmm.
that would allow them to become a championship caliber team.
So this is what I'm gonna say, and this is, we're gonna move on to the next team, but I will say LeBron literally has to think and work on the same brain length and brainwave
Hmm.
as Daryl Morey.
I just love how we're saying that LeBron has to think on the same wavelength.
He does. He has to think on the same brainwave because Daryl Morey. That's all Daryl Morey talks about. All he thinks about. How can we beat the Warriors? That's what LeBron has to think about right now.
Oh,
LeBron
I
has to
completely
think of.
agree.
That's all he has to think about. It doesn't matter. Ain't nobody else. I don't care about nobody else. Who gives me the best shot to beat the Warriors? LeBron's like, I can take care of everybody else. Anybody else you put in front of me, I can beat them. But I'm having a hard time keeping those Warriors down. And that goes to the next team. What if he just stays in Cleveland?
I
There's
don't
been
think that's
report.
gonna happen. I feel like
There's
Bridges are
there's been
being
reports. I
burned.
mean, I don't know. There's been reports that say he's gonna do it for his family. He has kids, and hey, he's got kids.
Wow.
LeBron's got kids. So, I mean, he could stay in Cleveland just because, the kids are there. He don't have to travel a lot. Like you said, he's getting older. They can trade everybody. Like they can make everybody available. LeBron can handpick his own players like he's been doing. He can handpick the trades and get who he wants. He won't get no superstars
Yep.
unless he trades for them. Hey, maybe LeBron can get the Cavs to trade for Russell Westbrook.
I think Westbrook going to the Cavs would turn the entire conference on its head.
I
And
mean,
not to and let me revise my statement. Westbrook going to the East would turn it on its head.
mm, I'm just saying, just think about LeBron and Westbrook. Two high energy guys running up and down the court, dunking on people.
Mm,
Westbrook won't quit. I will say that. And
I
that's
will
what
agree with that.
LeBron needs players that won't quit.
Well, LeBron needs to allow the GM to do his freaking job.
Never. Never. LeBron will never let the GM do his job. What that's comedy right there.
I know
Comedy.
that was the whole point of that.
That was
It
good.
was meant to be taken sarcastically, ladies and
That
gentlemen.
was really good. But what about the next team, the Boston Celtics, who already have a cluster of teams that it would be ridiculous. I don't
No,
even know
this one
how.
that's not happening.
Yeah, they would. I mean, they would literally have to get rid of. Oh God, I hit my headphones. Oh, that hurt. Um, they would have to get rid of so many players. It would be ridiculous. I wouldn't gut that team either. All right, this next one, which I think we both agreed that we would just stop watching basketball if this was to happen. But ultimately, this would also include a trade, most likely of Draymond Green, and that would be the LeBron number 23 to go to the Warriors to replace Draymond's number 23.
I got nothing.
Obviously, it would be a sign and trade. They would get rid of Draymond and probably Iguodala, and you know, take
It's
it to the
gonna
next level.
basically gut the team.
I mean, no, literally, you would just have to give. I mean, they probably have to give up a first round pick, or maybe multiple first round picks, or maybe none because they're going to lose LeBron anyway. But you think about it, you give up Draymond, and Iguodala, first round pick from this year, and maybe next year's second or something stupid like that, and then you just roll with it. Of course, the Cavs still would be done because they still won't have any money, but I mean, I could see that happening. I would hate to see it because I
I
actually we
would
won't
hate
see it.
like I just don't want to see it. Like I have nothing to say there because I've already made my statement. Like I'll
We
be
probably
done with the NBA.
we probably would. I know we're gonna take a summer break, but literally, if LeBron goes to the Warriors, we're gonna do football, and I guess we'll start covering baseball
Baseball
ourselves.
or hockey.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a nice hockey team that we can follow, I guess. And, I mean, the Capitals just won, didn't they?
Yep. Congrats to them.
So we'll have to just, yeah, and the World Cup is coming up. I mean, we'll just have to find something else to fill our time. So the eighth team is the Miami Heat, who it's somewhat in a interesting. I mean, they have an interesting team. They have some somewhat star power. They still have Justice. That's why your wins low, and they wanted Dragic for so long, but I barely hear about him. Whiteside, they have some players. Do I think they can bring LeBron back with those players to actually compete? I'm not.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I don't know. These last two are intriguing. Now, I will say, LeBron going to Washington would be interesting.
They won't have John Wall though
Why won't they?
because I mean basically the way that they treated him this season, like they want it to be Bradley Beal's team.
But Bradley Beal got fouled out.
Doesn't matter.
I mean, that's a clear representation of his leadership. He gets
Doesn't
fouled
matter.
out.
It doesn't matter. They want Bradley Beal.
I don't think he's. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a great player, but and I mean, and that's why we talked about them potentially trading John Wall. Maybe swapping with Kyle Lowry or trading John Wall to maybe to the Knicks. I always want people to
I'd
go to the
be
Knicks.
I'd be so happy if they did that.
Which, speaking of the Knicks, that would be the number 10 team on the list, the New York Knicks, who, you pair LeBron James with Tim Hardaway Jr. and